Alrighty, welcome to this week's Real Estate Investing Deal Breakdown podcast / YouTube / social media. So today I'm talking about 111 Bailey Road in Montgomery, New York. So I'm going to tell you how we found the deal, how much money we made on the deal, what the process was like start to finish. Hopefully this inspires you to go out and do deals yourself, whether you're brand new or if you're experienced. Hopefully this will help you do more deals. So 111 Bailey Road, we found this seller through direct mail marketing. And ironically, this was a seller who had our postcard for years and years and years. They kept on to our postcard. They had it on their fridge. And long story short, they went into contract with another investor, and the other investor was not able to perform on the deal. So they totally bailed out of the property and left the seller hanging high and dry. She had our postcard from years ago. She called us. She said, hey, I've had your postcard forever. I was about to sell my property to another buyer, and they totally bailed out, and I'm stuck with this house. I don't want to deal with it. I believe it was her mom's house. She inherited the property. And she said, come out and make me an offer. So what I did on this case was I actually spoke to the seller myself. Brett didn't speak to her. And I forget her name. But basically, I remember I said, we're going to do this virtually. I'm going to make you an offer over the phone, and if that offer is something you're willing to accept, I can send someone out there to confirm everything, and we can go from there. And I think she actually gave me the price, and the price was a really good price because she just wanted to get rid of the property. I did a house maybe 2 miles away a couple months before that, so I knew the area pretty well. It's in Montgomery, really hot zip code in really hot town in Orange County, New York. And she told me her price. I said, that sounds like it can work. I'll make the offer at that price. I'm just going to have someone come see it real quick. I don't think it'll change much. So once I got the offer accepted and we were going into contract, because in New York, when you get an offer accepted, the attorney has to get the contract prepared, and it takes usually about a week if it's slow, and if it's fast, about 2 days. So anyway, we were getting the contract going, and I knew that this is a property I wanted to wholesale real quick. So I texted one of my top buyers. His name is Hershey, Gold Score Properties out of the Hudson Valley. And I said, hey, man, I got this property in Montgomery. This is what I want to sell it for. Can you do it? And he's like, let me see it. I said, all right. I'll send you over there. So as I'm getting the contract with the seller, I trust and know Hershey well. So I figured I'd just send him out there because he's a good guy and he's very ethical. He would never go behind my back. And he went out there. He said the price works. I said, cool. So what we ended up doing was we got a contract between the seller and myself, and then we got a second contract between Hershey and myself. So we had a contract with me and the seller, and then I had a contract with me and Hershey. At the end of the day, it was a very smooth deal. I think it took like maybe 4 or 5 weeks to close. Actually, it might have been 5 to 6 weeks. So it was about 6 weeks to close. And at the end of the day, we made $25,000 double closing this property. So I bought the house from the seller, and then the same day I actually resold it to Hershey. So I took title. I was on the deed. I have a copy of that deed. And I resold it for $25,000 gross. I think after the transfer tax and attorney fees, it was probably about $23,000. So nonetheless, really good wholesale deal, and everyone made some money on it. Hershey's in contract to sell it right now. I think he's selling it for like $445 or something like that. He had some issues with the septic tank, but nonetheless, it was a good deal for him. They did a great remodel on it. So I made 25 or 23 grand net. Hershey's probably going to make however much money he's going to make, and everyone won in that case. The seller got their problem solved. I got a great profit. Hershey's getting a great profit, and then that buyer who's ultimately buying the property from Hershey is also getting a great property in a great area at market price, and everyone wins. So what are some lessons that I learned from this property? The first lesson is obvious. You have to do direct mail, and you need to understand that a lot of people will call in right away, but some of the best leads from direct mail are people that hang on to your postcard, and they call you years, not months, years down the line. Right? I paid for that direct mail campaign over 2 years ago, and I already made money from other leads from it, but that direct mail campaign still continued to pay me up until like 5 months ago when that deal happened. So, a lot of direct mail sellers will call you right away. Some will be motivated, some will not be motivated, but you will get people who will call in years down the line if you send enough mail, and they'll be ultra motivated. This lady called me and she was ready to go. Didn't have to be the best salesperson in the world. I just had to make sure that the numbers worked, but which they did in this case. So direct mail definitely pays you well after you spend the money. Second lesson is you got to have good buyers, right? If you're a wholesaler, you need to have good buyers in your pocket at all times. Like, because I've been established in that market for a long time, I was able to literally text Hershey and be like, hey, here's the address, here's the price. If you could do this, let's do business. I wanted to make sure he got a good deal. I wanted to make sure I was making a good amount of money. And in our market, 25 grand is pretty much the average at this point, which is pretty good if you're signing a contract and not taking any risk. So all in all, you got to have good buyers. You got to know the people who are buying properties. It's not hard to find that out. You can use public records, Facebook groups, etc. other wholesalers. So those are my two lessons on that deal. I guess the third lesson I would say is when you have a hot, motivated seller, you have to strike when the iron's hot. Like this lady was ready to sell her property, and it was either going to be to me or somebody else, and I wanted to make sure it was me, which ultimately became the case. So you got to make sure you strike when the iron is hot. You don't want to procrastinate and tell sellers you get back to them in 2 days because they don't want to wait 2 days. They want to sell their house right now. They want to trade equity for speed, certainty, and convenience. And in that case, that is exactly what that seller did. So hopefully you got value from this video / podcast. If you did, leave me a review on iTunes, subscribe to my YouTube channel, like the video. And also, if you are in my market, if you are in the Hudson Valley or if you're in Delaware or San Diego, and you either want to JV wholesale a deal with me or you want to just sell me a wholesale deal directly because I am a buyer, send me an email, greg@velocityhousebuyers.com, or you can send me an Instagram DM at grego_37. I hope you have a great day, and I'll see you on the next one.